Hey y'all, it's Allison with Mixed Asian Media. I just finished a wonderful interview with a very cool girl named Ashly Burch. Ashly is a half Thai, half Irish voiceover actress. She's an Emmy Award winning writer, BAFTA nominated actor, singer, and gamer extraordinaire who's been featured as one of Forbes 30 Under 30 in games. She's best known for voicing characters in video games such as Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, the Borderlands series, and Team Fortress 2. She's also a writer and voice actress for Cartoon Network's Adventure Time, for which she won an Emmy Award. She can currently be seen on Apple TV Plus, on Mythic Quest, and the upcoming The Ghost and Molly McGee on the Disney Channel. And here's my interview with Ashly. I hope you enjoy. I'm just going to start off with some questions here.
Yeah.
So, when I heard when you auditioned for the role, the creative team knew immediately that you were going to be their Molly for the Ghost and Molly McGee on Disney, and they began building the character around you and incorporating aspects of you into Molly, and that included your biracial heritage, which is so awesome to see. How did you become involved with the Ghost and Molly McGee?
So that actually started, I think, a few months before I even auditioned because they were looking for um, a little bit of help, look like with punch up of the pilot script because Bill and Bob are both men and their protagonist is a young woman. And so they wanted to sort of get a female perspective on the script and get feedback. And so I actually came in first as sort of like a little mini consultant and went through the script and immediately loved it and thought it was really funny. And I don't know if they knew already that I was a voice actor or if it came up in our conversations, but um, they let me know when they were auditioning, and I was really excited to audition for Molly. So yeah, it actually started a little bit of a circuitous way where I started as a writer briefly and then auditioned.
When did you realize you wanted to do voiceover work, and how did you cross over into writing and acting as well?
I knew that I wanted to do voiceover pretty young, strangely. Usually it's something that people kind of either fall into or maybe they discover it, early on in their career. But I was 13 and I've always loved video games. And I was playing a particular video game that was very sort of cinematic and performance focused. And so they highlighted their voice actors. And it was that when I was playing that game was sort of the first time that I realized, oh, you can do this as a job. These people don't just spring out of the ground fully formed. They're actors that are performing and giving them voices. So I knew from like 13 that that's what I wanted to do. And then I did a voice on Adventure Time, this little bee called Breezy, and I became friends with Kent Osborne, who is the voice director and also the head writer of the show. And Penn Ward was leaving, and they needed someone to come into the writers' room, and he asked me if I wanted to test for it. And that was the first time that because I had, I'd done sketch comedy with my brother and I'd written on my own, but I hadn't ever considered that it could be something that I could do for my career. And so I obviously agreed to test, and I came in for I think 2 weeks and was in the writer's room and pitched stories and broke stuff and just worked on things that they were working on, and they ended up liking me and I got the job. So that was sort of that opportunity coming up was the thing that sort of gave me the confidence and made me realize that writing could be an aspect of my career. I didn't really think about it before that.
One of the things when I was researching you, I noticed that you're very vocal about mental health and mental wellness, and that really struck a chord with me because as someone with ADHD, I remember you talking about how you said that having anxiety, the one thing that helped you be calm was through gaming, and um, I can really relate to that too because I got diagnosed with ADHD later in life, and the one thing that kind of helped me tune in, calm down, and kind of focus on something was learning how to play video games.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
I wanted to ask, what piece of advice can you offer to other gamers to take care of their mental health?
Well, I think part of it is understanding that there are lots of people like you that are going through the same thing that you're going through. I think part of the difficulty with issues of mental health is that there's a lot of loneliness and sense of shame around it.
Yeah.
And this sort of lie that we tell ourselves that we're the only person dealing with this, when in fact there are probably millions of people that are going through something similar, which means that there are resources for you. So one, it's kind of like accepting, okay, this is something that's going on and not demonizing yourself for it. And then also being able to reach out for help, which I think usually people come to in their own time when they're ready. But I've been in therapy now for a number of years and it's helped me tremendously. And I have so many tools now to help with my anxiety that I didn't have before. And I have so much more capability in my life to do things that, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would not have been able to do because my anxiety was too debilitating. So I would really, what's lovely about games is that they're a salve, they are soothing, and I think um but sometimes I think we kind of stop there. We stop at attending to the symptoms rather than trying to really heal what's going on underneath. And lots of mental health issues are extremely treatable.
So back to the Ghost and Molly McGee, I wanted to talk about the one thing that really like made my heart flutter was the scene where your family, Molly's family, is introduced, and right away, as a halfie, we have that radar. I mean, even just seeing a mixed person, I feel like we can spot each other, but then
Mhm.
just seeing it so like clearly put out in a cartoon of all things, in a Disney
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah.
My question is, what was it like having Disney incorporating your mixed heritage into Molly McGee and her family? And do you see your own family in Molly's family?
It was really special. I've never played a character that actually reflects my racial identity before.
That's
Um
that's something, right? Like we
yeah.
rarely get that as halfies.
Yeah, and particularly as a half Thai woman. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny because there are now two shows with Thai leads on Disney Channel, which is so amazing um, as a Thai woman to see that. But it was really special, and in particular, there's an episode coming up, not for a while, I don't think, where um, Molly specifically reckons with the fact that she is half Asian and the sort of complexities that come with not connected enough to, your Asian culture. Like we recorded the episode of like basically Molly's Thai relatives come to visit and there's this feeling of like not being Thai enough. And reading that episode, I was so it just hit me so deep and it affected me and it was cathartic because I felt really seen. And then
Mhm.
also, it was just so accurate and so beautifully written. And it made me feel so grateful to be part of a show that is going to reach people that are like me, that have a tremendous amount of pride in their heritage. And then also that there's this sort of sense of like not being enough or not feeling in between two cultures or feel that sort of like specific complex issue that comes from being mixed race. And the fact that the show tackles it, it's just, I don't know. I texted Bill and Bob afterward after I read it, and I told them I just couldn't express how much it meant to me.
Yeah,
Because like you said, you just don't get that kind of, we didn't get that kind of stuff when we were kids.
not
Not
at
by a
all.
long shot. We got like an Asian kid that had like 2 lines maybe.
My last questions for you is, I wanted to know what was one of the most special creative endeavors you've worked on so far in your career, and what do you look forward to most in the future?
I mean, it's a kind of a cop out answer, but every creative project is special in a different way. You know, like Molly is so special, not just because it's a great show and I get to work with wonderful people, but specifically what we're talking about, like having this representation of here is this girl that is my exact racial makeup, is my reflects my culture. Like that is not an experience I've ever had, and it's so singular and so special, you know. Um, and every project has a thing like that. I mean, I've been really, really lucky to be involved with incredible, um, incredible projects that are all so distinct and so special in different ways. Um, so it's hard to it's very difficult. And in fact, it's impossible to pick just one. But yeah, I'm very lucky, and in particular with Molly, that Bill and Bob are so they're just so thoughtful as well. Like they're really trying to tell interesting, funny, fun, but like complex stories. And they're really, really responsible in the way that they go about them. And it's just a really lovely show to be a part of. And I'm really excited for people to see it. Um, yeah, and then in terms of looking forward to, I mean, I'm really excited for people to see Molly. I feel like
Yeah.
it's such a good show, um, just in terms of how funny it is and how beautiful the art is and how great our cast is. And then there are episodes that are genuinely deeply moving, and I've like cried in the booth before of like how much I was touched by them. So yeah, I just can't wait for people to see it, and I can't wait for specifically Asian and half Asian kids to get
Mm,
to see themselves reflected in
I
Molly.
love that. That's beautiful. And I'm just gonna ask you one more question
Yeah, of
because
course.
this is mixed Asian media. I wanted to ask, um, do you have like a family tradition, and like what's your favorite food from your both sides of your family?
Uh-huh.
That's the burning question.
So, my mom, she used to do it more when we were younger, but she would feed the spirits. So whenever we would have a meal, she would make a separate plate and she would take it outside and she would light incense and she would pray in front of it. And she um, she always called it feeding the spirits, but basically like she would uh, talk to her ancestors that had passed away basically and give them a bite to eat. And that's what she would do after or during dinner. And I've adopted that as well. I don't remember as often as she does, but when I remember, I make a plate and I go outside and I light some incense and I pray and I feed the spirits. So that's a tradition I really like. And man, favorite food. That's hard. That's
So many
tough.
good
I
foods.
mean, my mom used to make these big Thai meals
Mm.
um, for our grandparents on my dad's side, and she she was like a one woman restaurant. I can't believe she made all that stuff. But I think my favorite thing actually was she made tom kha kai, which is like the coconut soup,
Oh,
and
so good.
so good. And she taught me how to make it at one point, and I think because that's like the first Thai dish that I learned to make, it has like a special place in my heart.
Yum. Well, you're gonna have to make this for me someday. Like, sounds delicious. And I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to
Yeah, of
do this.
course.
I know you are a busy, successful lady, and this means so much to us. And I'm really grateful that I was introduced to you and I got to speak to you.
Well,
And
thank you for taking the time. It was really nice to meet you.
yeah, so is there anything you'd like to close out by saying? Do you have any?
I think just watch The Ghost and Molly McGee, and I hope you enjoy it. And there are a lot of really special episodes that are coming up in this show that I think halfies, as you would say, I think we'll really respond to and really love. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ashly. And everyone needs to go watch the Ghost and Molly McGee on Disney Channel. And have a great day.
You too.